It's round 3 of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. And the competition enters the sprint phase with one-day events. Hayden Padden has set the pace so far, but will miss this round as he competes in Europe. Richard Mason will want to take advantage then and starts as favourite. But both Emma Gilmore and Chris West have been testing new improvements to their cars and hope to find more pace. And Ben Hunt will bring his consistent speed in the Group N Subaru to pressure the top 3. One day, 9 stages, no room for error. This is the GoPro Daybreaker Rally. This is Fielding, home to the Daybreaker Rally and home to Manfield, the event centre for agriculture, equestrian and of course motor racing. The town of Fielding sits in the shadow of the Ruahinis and the country's first wind farm with its impressive array of over 50 windmills. It's the centre of a rich farming area. Hosts a farmers market in the square. And is home to a fine museum celebrating the history of transport. Located on this site 12 months ago, the Coach House Museum is worth a visit as you journey from horse and cart of the 19th century through to the development of the motorised farm vehicles from the early to mid-20th century. But this weekend, we are more interested in a faster pace of travel as the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship comes to the town. Based, of course, at the Manfield Motor Race Circuit. In the championship standings, Hayden Padden on 88, Mason 62, Hunt 39 and West on 24. Hayden Padden was racing this weekend, but a world away in Belgium at Ypres Rally. Unfortunately, his rally ended after a small crash. But this year, New Zealand drivers will be able to drop their worst round for points. So his absence in New Zealand still leaves him with a realistic championship chance. But Richard Mason starts as favourite on the Daybreaker Rally. It's a rally which few of the top 10 drivers have any experience on.
Well, I think it's pretty much everybody. We did notes yesterday. The whole thing was new, so, it was new notes the whole way. Some guys probably spent a lot of time watching TV cameras last night from video footage and things like that. We didn't do that, so we like to just run it fresh from how Ricky went.
Looking at the roads, they're very similar to what we experienced at Wairarapa. Essentially, Wairarapa's just over the other side of the hill, but probably not as fast. But they're technical, long corners, tightening. So there's a lot of detail required in the notes, and there's going to take a lot of commitment to punch out those times tomorrow.
I think we're all sort of on the same playing field in that regard, and I think even some of the stages that they might have run last year as a club event are run in reverse direction this year. So it's nice to come to some new challenging roads, and I mean all of the roads in New Zealand are fantastic, and these ones they look brilliant.
And no one has less experience than Catlin's rally winner Reece Gardner.
From a pace note perspective, I quite like them because it's corner into corner. We don't have those technical crests that sort of challenge novices like us.
After recce, the top 5 made their choice on start positions. Mason taking a surprising number 1.
It's been a while since we've swept the roads, and we do actually quite like being first on the road, so that's what it's going to be.
Ben Hunt chose 3, then it was Kelsey in 2, West in 4, and Gilmore was left with position 5. As the drivers prepare to leave, each car is inspected by motorsport officials who mark the tyres.
They've got a certain number of tyres they're allowed to use, 10 tyres per leg, and we control it by paint marking and stickers and checking them throughout the event to make sure there's none of the unmarked tyres have been introduced.
So you'll check at the next service?
Yeah, that's correct, on the way into the service to make sure that all the marked tyres are still on the vehicle, and then as they leave we'll remark them and check them again on the way out, and that'll happen for each service.
So as Richard Mason leaves Manfield, let's see what's ahead for the GoPro Daybreaker Rally with our BNT stage preview.
Hi, I'm Richard Mason, bringing you the BNT stage preview. Today we're looking at the GoPro Daybreaker Rally. Stage 1, Pukekura. It's an interesting start to the rally. A mix of tight sections joined by small pieces of tarmac, finishing on Pepper Day Road. A great stage to start the rally with.
It's cold but fine at the start of stage 1. Joining me on the coverage, Glenn Inkster. Glenn, Richard made a choice to be number 1. Was that right in these conditions?
There's been a lot of rain in the build-up to this rally, so you're not going to get the traditional problems of sweeping away too much gravel. Hang on, he looks like he's still there.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back to that a little bit later on. Alex Kelsey back with his Subaru. Still no sign of his new Peugeot though, Glenn.
Yeah, sometimes the last bits and pieces coming together can really take some time, so they won't want to bring it out until it's completely ready. And he's still got this car to fall back on, which is a superb WRC New Zealand built replica.
Yeah, let's take a bit of a ride with him. That's a sequential gearbox in there, Glenn.
Yeah, Richard Mason's actually gone to the same type of gearbox, so there's certainly some advantages in the stages with speed and changing gears.
And we look at the suspension travel in that one. That's an awful lot of travel to have in the car, isn't it, Glenn?
Yeah, listen, rally roads, there's lots of camber. The name of the game is to keep the wheel on the road and keep getting traction going forwards, and this car has super suspension in it, which means he can get most of the power to the ground.
Well, he just went over a bit of a lump there, and seems like he's... Oh, that seems like someone's gone a bit of a rye there.
Okay. How far to go? Right minus. 13 k's. Oh, the wheel's gone.
That kind of says it all. Another short day for Alex Kelsey.
The wheels come off. Yeah.
Ben Hunt is third on the road, and in these conditions, kind of a good place to be there, Glenn?
Yeah, there's not too much difference with the road being so wet. Leading up to the event, the moisture makes basically all the gravel stick together more like cement, so you're not going to get it sweeping off. And as you can see here, he's heading up the hill, but there's no clear line, so there's no real disadvantage for being first, second or third on the road in these early parts of the rally.
Mind you, he seems to be having a bit of trouble. The same corner that Richard Mason had some troubles with. Now, Chris West knows how to start well, and with his years of experience in the New Zealand Championship, he will be hoping for a bit of a change of luck and a change of form in his Sims Mitsubishi Rally Out car.
Yeah, the first stage of the rally, it's the longest stage of the rally, and looks like he's getting through that corner all right. They've really got to make their mark on this first stage and get ahead.
And I guess we'll see at the end of this stage just who is best at getting out of bid first on the track. Now, Emma Gilmore has been testing and improving since Rally Whangarei. And just look at the way the car leaves the line. That's a lot of grunt there, Glenn.
Yeah, this is a new car. They've been making a lot of improvements. This stage is quite technical and different to what we saw in Whangarei, so it's going to be really interesting to see the stage time with a car that really should be quite good in the handling department.
Now that's a corner everyone's been having trouble with, but that Suzuki just shot right through there, Glenn.
Yeah, it certainly is making some good power by the looks of that. This car has a lot of bits and pieces that are similar to what a Skoda S2000 car in the World Rally Championship is. So I think even though it's a new car, there's certainly some well-developed suspension components.
Well, overcooking it a bit there, Emma misses that corner, and that's going to cost us some precious time. Meantime, Matt Jansen, back after his Rally Otago disaster when he went just 400 metres into stage one. So this rally is really his first stage of the season.
Yeah, well, he didn't even get a start in Otago, really, and so this is his first big competitive stage miles of the year, and it takes a bit of time just to get up to speed.
Also returning is Canterbury driver Matt Sommerfeld after dropping the Whangarei rally. But it was a short day for Rhys Gardner. He punctured, then he crashed on stage one. And hard at work at the wheel of his S2000 Ford, Dave Strong getting stuck into the work on stage one.
Yeah, these tight and technical stages are certainly going to suit this car, and Dave's driving it very, very well. Although he's not going to be able to keep up in the power race because it is a naturally aspirated car and he can't just bolt on a bigger turbo.
So Richard Mason already 21.9 seconds ahead of Hunt, and West another 12 seconds back. Gilmore fourth, and look at the battle for fifth. Strong just 2.2 ahead of Sommerfeld. Coming up after the break, high flying in the B&T Historics and Mason on a charge.
Stage 2, Lyndon's Ford Road. It's a short blast along the top of a ridge. A good flowing piece of road, but it pays to watch out for the fences.
Well, Glenn, here comes Richard Mason. It looks like he's carrying a bit of damage to the front of his car, though.
Yeah, it's not going to slow him down, but it's good to see him trying so hard. Like, the cars are just looking so fast out on the stages this year.
And of course, he's got a new gearbox in there that he's got to get used to in the track.
Yeah, it's a sequential gearbox, so when he goes down the gear, he just bangs the gear lever forward, and then to go back up through the gearbox, it's just a simple pull of the lever forwards. There's also flash things like flat change, where you don't have to lift the throttle, all host of little things to get right to make sure the gearbox works to its best.
Well, clean through the stage, and we look at the time at 5 minutes 41.1.
So, Richard, you were fastest through the first stage. How did it go?
Yeah, look, it was a good stage for us. We did struggle a little bit in the tight sections and where it was a bit slippery, but to be honest, where there was more sweat pieces and that, we were getting more out of the car. So we'll adjust the suspension a little bit to get a bit better. The last stage we just did felt really nice.
We noticed a bit of damage to your front. What happened there?
Look, just a mistake on the notes. We had a cut on a corner that really shouldn't have been a cut, and it's just torn the bottom of the bumper off. They do fly to pieces pretty easy.
Speaking of flying, Ben Hunt flying here in his Group N car. This car still running the same spec as APRC Rally Whangarei. And it looks like West and Hunt might have to settle for a second place battle in the morning stages. Let's just compare West, the former champ, on the right, with Hunt, the rising star, on the left.
Yeah, listen, Ben Hunt's certainly been the find of the championship so far. He's adapting to a car that's very much a known quantity. They'll have set-up data, they'll know how to make the car fast, so then it's up to Ben to learn. Westy, on the other hand, he's learning a new Evo 10. The team's learning how to set the car up. He'll be fast in bits and pieces. Other parts of the stages will be a bit slow, but they're just getting it all together.
Well, let's see the difference at the stage end. It's 0.3 seconds to Hunt.
We've got a long way to go, and the car feels really good, but it's just finding that little sweet spot, and we haven't quite touched on it yet, but we'll get there.
Emma Gilmore is leaning on it just a bit, just 8 seconds slower in fourth, and look at this, that looks spectacular.
Yeah, that's what they want to see out on the stages. I wasn't sure about the look of this car when I first saw it, but I think it looks grouse and it goes good.
And the tight stages suit Dave Strong, where outright speed doesn't really matter, as you were saying before, Glenn.
Yeah, Dave's certainly getting into these tighter stuff, and he runs a sequential gearbox, much like what Richard's come up to now.
Now, Matt Sommerfeld's pushing hard, though, and has moved past Strong to take 5th overall.
Stage 3 and 6 is Uruguay. Just out of Apathy, it starts fast with a lot of heavy gravel and tightens up into a narrow gorge before opening up again to a fast finish.
Richard Mason continued to lead through stage 3, but a problem for Ben Hunt with his car cutting out on the stage.
Yeah, Ben Hunt had some problems in Whangarei, and that was down to the electronic throttle. It's a fly-by-wire system. There is no cable. So when we have these niggling problems, it can be hard to find. And he's closed off the road there. What you can find there is he's had no throttle. He can't get the car turned in. There's no throttle. The car's slowing down, and we're virtually to a stop here. But what he'd be trying to do is turn the car off, reset the computer, fire it back up again, and often that clears it.
Well, this can only be good news for West. He was trailing Hunt going into stage 3 by 12.6 seconds, but would emerge ahead in second place by 10.4 seconds at the end of the stage.
Yeah, well, that just shows how much time it's cost Hunt, because this is quite a short stage, and so to take so much time back, certainly a good thing for Chris West.
Emma Gilmore looks fast, although her time's still just down on the top 3, though.
Yeah, she's bouncing off a limiter there, though, so we'll have to see if it's all going well. Emma runs the H-pattern gearbox. We've talked a lot about sequentials. She's still running the more traditional H-pattern gearbox, which sometimes you can miss gears, which I think we may have just seen.
5 right long.
Not so sure if all's healthy.
5 left, links 3, opens.
I think I overread it.
Yeah.
So Gilmore misses stage 4 and comes straight into the service park.
And stage 3 just had an over rev and it dropped onto 3 cylinders, so we've had it happen in testing. It's just inside the engine, just picks up a shim, so hopefully it's something that we can maybe fix. Like, so we've retired temporarily. Hopefully we can fix it in service and then go out and do the final 2 stages just for some more mileage.
Mileage is the most important thing to you, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just so different to drive. It's quite different. The grouping car is really driving it from the front end, and this I have to really think about driving it from the rear, and it feels so weird because I'm actually at the rear of the car. There isn't really much behind me, so it's taking a bit to get the hang of it. So every mile we do is just helping the confidence.
Stage 3 saw a big improvement for Matt Jansen, 4th fastest.
That's a good time from Matt. This is a pretty nice Subaru as well. Matt imported a Pro Drive Subaru, much like Richard Mason did.
Mind you, this is home territory for Brian Green, and he's got plenty of experience on these roads, dating back to when this rally used to start at midnight and run into the daylight hours.
Yeah, and that's what the old timers say what real rallying was about.
Mind you, starting at midnight, Glenn, that's got to be a whole different kettle of fish to the way these guys run from the early morning through the day.
Yeah, that was tough. Listen, before the event, there's all the adrenaline, you're not going to get any sleep, and then start the rally at midnight, and then run all the way through to midday.
Well, he's no spring chicken, but Graham Featherston was the leading rookie in his Group A Evo Lancer, and this is a keenly fought category. But it was a short day for Clinton Cunningham, who had his centre diff Cs on stage 1. Christchurch driver Richard Baddock picking up the pace as he chased Featherston. And Scott Simpson back in the rookie battle after rolling out at Whangarei. David Thexton has had a season plagued by small mechanical problems, and unfortunately this rally was no exception.
What's that? Yeah, looks like some driveline problems there again. Maybe a broken axle?
Well, Tony McConaughey was also out early with a broken gearbox in his Starlet. Phil Campbell led the Fiesta Challenge, although both he and Josh Marston were finding the tight conditions a challenge. After stage 1, Marston was down by 6 seconds, clawed back 4 seconds on stage 2. But on stage 3, Campbell pulled ahead by just 7 seconds. And back with his car looking new, David Holder was taking things easy after his big crash at Whangarei. With rookie co-driver Josh Theobald, Holder was determined to have an accident-free day and just get some points. But his times were only seconds slower than the new R2 Fiestas.
Yeah, David Holder's a very, very good driver, and he's going to do good things in newer cars, but he's certainly taken it nice on the gearbox. You see, using the clutch, blipping the throttle on downshifts. He's certainly been kind to that car.
However, the fastest two-wheel drives were in the BNT Historic class. Jeff Judd is championship leader after round 2, but has had plenty of competition here at Daybreaker Rally, but maybe trying just a little bit too hard here. A broken axle for Judd, so Marcus Van Klink and Dean Buist can both get some points back in this class. Van Klink was the leader here going into service. But Dean Buist, actually 5th fastest overall on stage 4, to be just 11.6 seconds behind Van Klink at the service break. And Ron Davey also back for this round. Another new rally for historic rookie Tony Gosling. So, after 3 stages, Mason now with a huge 49-second lead, just 10 seconds between West and Hunt, but another 1 minute 20 back to Gilmore. But she would not make the stage 4 start. Good performance from Strong, and Van Klink and Buist both ahead of the leading Fiesta of Campbell. Coming up, a new car breaks cover on Rally Nation. Missing at the GoPro Daybreaker Rally was the awesome Audi of Andrew Hawkswood. His team are busy creating a new car on the Maxi Rally rules. The car will be based on a Mazda 2 and run a 2-litre turbo 4-wheel drive configuration. But this car is hoped to be the first in a Kiwi Rally production line.
Well, this subframe was based on the Argentinian Maxi car design, but we did change the design of it to simplify it and mainly to make the manufacturing side of it much more simpler. We've started with a Mazda, but we've kept in mind that we're possibly be building different makes of cars. So the idea is to keep these components, the subframe, the same in each car, and we'll incorporate the mounting points into each car exactly where they need to be.
In many ways, the Quattro was the first version of this type of car, wasn't it, for you?
Oh, that's right. We did a similar modification to the Quattro to get the different running gear into the Audi body shell. I suppose the good thing is that now that we've sold this Audi, that we'll be able to build a new one and incorporate the new technology into it.
With the production chinks now completed, it's hoped that this new generation car will debut at the Possumbourne Memorial Rally.
Stage 4 and 7, Tunapai. Another short stage, and it loops us back towards Apathy. Tight and twisty with some narrow sections and a fast straight in the middle.
With just this short stage before the first service, Richard Mason was unchallenged in the lead. But Ben Hunt and Chris West were locked in battle for second place. Hunt posted 5 minutes 37.3 as he chased West. West, though, hit a rock and punctured. But this time, luck was with him, as it was near the stage end.
5 right plus opens, but it's more.
Yeah, sometimes if you just clip a rock on the side, you can rip a bit of the wheel out and lose all the air, and tyre goes down.
He would lose time, but not too much. As the clock shows it, 5 minutes 48.9, so 11 seconds slower, and he slips to third. With Gilmore gone, Sommerfeld was now up to fourth, although over 1 minute 30 behind West. And Dave Strong still in touch with Sommerfeld in fifth and growing in confidence. Rookie Graham Featherstone leading the class and just 8 seconds behind Strong. While Matt Jansen making up time after suffering a similar issue to Hunt as the car kept cutting out.
Yeah, this is the same sort of problem as Ben Hunt has had. You can see he's just reset the car with the ignition, the computer's firing back up now, and they're underway, but how frustrating for him.
4 right minus hug, and the 3 left minus.
But no problems for Brian Green, who is under 5 seconds back.
30, 5 left minus.
Yeah, as you can see, that's a caution wooden bridge, exceptionally slippery in these conditions, so you've got to be square on and square off, otherwise you'll hit the side.
Mason now with a 1 minute 11 second lead, Hunt up to second, West 1.2 back, then a big gap to Sommerfeld and Strong, and it's been a perfect morning for Richard Mason.
Very happy with the lead so far. The car's not perfect, but it's we're enjoying driving it. The roads are really quite interesting to drive around here.
But without his technical issues, Ben Hunt may have been closer.
Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting morning. We've had the same issues that we've been having at Whangarei with that throttle position, and in that second to last stage, we probably couldn't get it going for about 40 seconds, and it was actually pretty dangerous because where it cut out was on a 6 right over crest, and we went real wide up the culvert, so we're pretty lucky there. But yeah, we've been nursing it through.
Despite the issue, the road seems to suit the Subaru.
These roads are fantastic, and it suits this car and probably suits my driving style, so that all helps, and we'll have a little bit of a nudge in these next 3 stages.
It was a lucky break for West, his puncture not really costing too much.
Richard and Ben are obviously flicking a lot of stones and rocks out on the road, and unfortunately there was one just in a far section there, and I tell you, it wasn't worth avoiding it, but unfortunately, it was minor. We can obviously just do a wheel alignment here, and we'll press on. There's probably a bigger chance after the repeat of these next 3 with punches as well. So it's something to be aware of.
You going to change your tyres?
We're actually going to go for a K. So yes, we will still stick on a 6, but from a KM to a K, which is effectively a little bit wider, but not as many cuts or gaps in the tread.
And a nervous morning behind the wheel for Matt Jansen.
With the throttle cutting out, it's pretty unnerving coming into a corner and standing on it, and there's nothing there to get you out of it.
40, 5 left minus. 100, 5 left, 250.
So hopefully the boys can fix it now. We haven't got another one on us because the left-hand drive car is different and we can't get one in New Zealand, so fingers crossed.
Josh Marston saw all his hard work disappear when he punctured on stage 4. So Phil Campbell now had a 29-second class lead and was happy to have the advantage.
It's what we were hoping for when we come to this service. Unfortunately, Josh got a flat tyre, so that sort of cost him a little bit, but we're on top at the moment, so we're happy.
What's this car like in these technical stages?
Yeah, it's good. It's as long as we can keep the momentum going, it's fine. It gets a little bit too much wheel spin when we have to stop, so it's been hard on the tyres. But yeah, the majority of the time it's working really well out there.
David Holder was hanging in there though, just 5 seconds behind Marston in the older Fiesta.
It's pretty tough out there, to be honest. Like their last stage was pretty wet and technical at the end, and we're just trying to get through and make no mistakes today and just focus on improving.
With the technical stages like that, is momentum everything?
Yeah, well, it's hard to hold corner speed and that really tight little stuff, you just got to keep it nice and tidy. So I'm just trying to do that and not make any mistakes and lose time.
And a great battle for BNT Historics. Van Klink now 9th overall. But Buist in the Escort still just 11 seconds behind, as for once the rear drive cars weren't struggling in the wheel tracks of the four-wheel drive cars. Tony Gosling not yet on the pace of the two experienced drivers, but holding third in class ahead of the less powerful RS2000 of Ron Davey. Now to the first repeated stage. Stage 5, London's Ford, 8.18 kilometres. Road positions wouldn't be an advantage now, as over 60 cars have passed through this stage already.
Yeah, the main thing we can see here is the road's dried out quite a lot from the morning passes, and road sweeping may actually take place now, so it may be advantage to be a few cars further back. Richard's certainly having a go there. And look at that gearbox, isn't it, Grouse?
Well, Richard's time on the first pass, 5 minutes 41.1. This time, 5 minutes 43.7, so slightly slower. Ben Hunt would be hoping that repairs to his electronic throttle would have worked as he tried to defend second place.
Yeah, that certainly would have been unnerving this morning. What we can see is this Group N car just doesn't have the power out of the corners and the punch down the straights that Richard Mason's car has.
All right, so it's down to the clock and 5 minutes 48.1, so a good time. And Chris West was late clocking out of service and has a 10-second penalty added to his time. How's that going to affect him, Glenn?
Sometimes you might get a bit fired up, but I think West is quite calm. He knows he'll just get on with the job and do some good times this afternoon. He's back on stages they've just checked the notes of effectively in the morning passes, so he'll be on it.
All right, so let's see the time then. That's 5:46.9, second fastest, and now exactly 10 seconds behind Hunt. And a career best 4th place at this stage for Matt Sommerfeld, but he had to keep the pressure on Dave Strong. Strong's building confidence and the stage is drying out. His time's improved. At the end of stage 5, he was still just 21 seconds behind Sommerfeld.
I'm enjoying the in-car out of this car today. Dave's driving it very well, and the car rewards aggressive driving.
4 left narrow.
Stage 6, Ottawa, and the second repeat stage, just a short 11.8 Ks, followed by the second run through Tunipo Road, and Richard Mason impressive as he tries to increase his lead.
Oh, he's gone a bit wide there. He's quite lucky to get away with that, but it's good to see him pushing on so hard. He's got a big lead, but he's not resting on it.
Both stage times within a few seconds of the morning run, so the swept road's not proving to be faster on the Daybreaker rally.
No, the roads are not faster, the drivers are going faster, but the road condition itself, because it's dried out, it's getting a lot more surface gravel.
Hunt is 9.1 seconds down on the leader through stage 6, but it was closer on stage 7.
And this sort of section of road is where Ben makes his time. It's downhill, it's technical, power's not such a problem, he's really on it down through here.
Well, we'll see just how much he makes up as we're coming down to the clock. Keeping it pretty smooth. Just checking on the time now as he comes up to it. It's 5 minutes 30.6. That's just 2.4 seconds slower than the leader. Chris West, though, was challenging for second place. He made a gain of 7.8 seconds on stage 6.
Oh, he's almost left his braking a bit late for that corner. On these repeat stages, you're full of confidence, you know where the road's going, and you do often push really hard.
Well, down to the stage end, West is 5 minutes 28.4, tied for second with Hunt. Unfortunately, Matt Sommerfeld just not able to keep close to this top three battle, but he was slowly pulling an advantage on Strong. They were almost tied on stage 6, but Strong dropped another 5 seconds on stage 7. Meanwhile, Featherston was inching closer to Strong in this three-way battle for 4th place. And Matt Jansen just 15 seconds back, but his confidence down as the team had not been able to fit a new throttle.
Yeah, Matt's looking quite tentative here, but it's so exceptionally hard. You don't know when the throttle's going to work and when it's not, and the throttle's used to steer the car just as much as the steering.
To get an idea of the road conditions, take a look at the loose gravel at the stage start.
Yeah, the condition of the road, it's not sweeping off down to a hard base, so the gravel's really just getting churned around as the cars come through, and we never see a clean road, and even way back down the field we're still getting a lot of gravel all over the road.
Van Klink had eased out a 25-second lead in the historics, but came close to losing it at the stage end.
60 to a long right, 2 right, don't cut. Repeat, long 2 right, don't cut. 30. 4 left, 10, tidy, 3 left. 3 left now, back it off, back it off, back it off. Clinky, come on. Just chucked it all away there. That's f***ing me. No, that's not good. No, that's
Despite that, both Van Klink and Buist were still the top two-wheel drive cars in the rally. Phil Campbell saw his 25-second class lead drop to 15 seconds after he hit a rock and damaged his fuel pump. It was a good effort by Marston and set him up for a lead challenge over the final 2 stages. David Holder had more confidence as his rookie co-driver Josh Theobald quickly got on the pace with stage notes. Real commitment now coming from Holder.
And we're on to the repeats of this stage. The short stages, Holder knows that there's going to be nothing nasty in the notes and they're starting to really gel together. He's getting a lot more pace out of the car.
Christchurch rookie Richard Baddock not able to challenge Featherston, but he was gathering a good point score on this rally. Likewise, Tony Gosling getting good experience in his rookie year.
And this is the full-blown BDA Escort, which will put out something like 250 horsepower. And compare that with the more standard engine in Ron Davies' Escort, somewhere around half that.
David Thexton had fixed the car in service, another driver who has had few miles this season after problems, and this spin nearly ending his rally as he struggled to get the car into reverse.
And this is one of the negatives of the sequential gearbox. He has to go down through the gears and then try and get reverse. Clearly he has got it going, but he's lost a fair bit of time.
Scott Simpson lost 5.5 minutes early on with a puncture, then on stage 7 lost more time with this spin. So with 2 stages to run, Mason's lead 1 minute 27.8, but Hunt and West tied for second place. That's going to be the battle to watch, and it's close from Sommerfeld in 4th to Green in 8th, so positions could change over the final stages. Van Klink leads two-wheel drive and Historic in 9th place, ahead of Buist, and then it's the Fiesta of Campbell with Marston 13.7 behind. So time to enjoy the lead for Richard Mason as he finds some young fans at the service park.
We were running after the field had done a complete loop this morning, and we really were struggling with loose gravel out of the line that we want to run. So it was reasonably difficult.
Well, the power stage, complete new stage, so that'll be a different approach.
Yeah, look, the next 2 stages actually, the first 8 Ks of Ridge Road we ran this morning as 2 and 5. So that'll be like a rerun, but after that it gets twisty after there for the majority of the stage, and that'll all be fresh, so that and the power stage should be quite interesting.
Ben Hunt checking his tyres after a close call at the end of stage 7.
I think you're a bit lucky though. I'm looking down at that tyre and you must be very close to a puncture.
Yeah, I know that got me a bit worried, and halfway through that stage it started smelling like burning rubber, and I didn't really know if it was the clutch or the tyres or what it was, so we're pretty actually lucky to get right through the end of that without one blown out.
And what a turnaround for Chris West.
You know, we've still got a long way to go, but mechanically, hey, you know, I guess the smile says it all.
What are those swept stages like?
Yeah, I mean, there is a base in there, but having said that, I think the first out of those repeats was probably the worst condition, but you know, now we're back into 2 new stages, so for the remainder of the day.
That second run through, had the roads started to dry out?
The roads have dried out quite a bit. The only thing is that with the odd ones up the front, they're cutting corners and that, there's a lot of mud and grass being dragged out, so what you gain in a bit of a track, you also lose in a bit of mud and that sort of thing.
But Matt Sommerfeld has an engine issue that could end his day.
We're pretty happy with where we are at the moment. It's really what we sort of expect when we come up here. It's been my first time here, so the car's not very happy. It's pretty sick, smoking a lot, but hopefully it'll make it to the end.
Despite his morning puncture, Josh Marston still could challenge Campbell.
We had the problems this morning and just driving really hard to try and pull it back. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how we go. It's a pretty narrow, this Ridge Road, and all the stories that everyone seems to tell you about are not good ones, but it was all right in recce, so we'll just keep doing what we're doing, just keep pushing on and just see how we go.
And Campbell's team trying to give him the best car for the final 2-stage battle.
The car maybe wasn't going quite as well as it should, so Josh has been kind enough to give us a new fuel pump, so we'll see what that does, and hopefully we can stay in front of him this afternoon.
Well, Dave, great to be in the top 5 and continuing top 5 performance all day.
Yeah, it's probably the first time I've sort of convinced myself I'm competitive, and when you're competitive you can always go better. So up to now I've been struggling because you can't hang in there on the fast stuff, you just haven't got the horsepower. Well, that was been my excuse, and I think today's proving it, that if the roads are right and you grab it by the scruff of the neck, you can do reasonable times.
Coming up, can Chris West use his experience to reclaim second? And it's the power stage. Bonus points on offer for the top 3 drivers. Shock absorber setup is critical in any race and rally car, and drivers like Richard Mason actually change the shock setting during the rally, often at the end of each stage.
You can't adjust springs or ride height, right? But you can adjust the low speed mechanism on the shock and the high speed, and then we also have the rebound, which is when it drops down, you know. So you can do that on every corner of the car.
It's simple to adjust with Allen keys through the top and bottom shock mounts.
We might want the wheel to drop down really fast, or we might want it to hold it up. So if you go over a bit of a bump, maybe the wheel sort of just comes down slowly and it pushes the car back down on the ground rather than dropping down quick. And maybe wheel goes on the ground quicker if it drops quick and you go back on grip. Stage 8 is Ridge Road, easily the most difficult stage of the rally. The first 8 Ks we ran in the opposite direction as stage 2. But after a turn at an intersection, the road gets really challenging. Expect to see big gaps in times and red faces at the end. Stage 9 is the last stage, Macbeth, the power stage. Short and sweet, a real challenge. This stage has a bit of everything. Fast and open, to tight and twisty, with bridges and off-camber corners. What a way to finish the rally.
And what a day for Richard Mason. This stage 24 Ks long, and look how he's throwing the BNT Subaru at this road, Glenn.
This is like WRC stuff. I like the fact that he's got half the front bumper missing. It just looks like he's going for it. That's full commitment. He's leading the rally by a big margin, and he's just absolutely trying to lay down the times. He's really enjoying it. I actually can't wait to see Hayden Paddon come back, because I think Richard stepped it up.
Certainly full of confidence, and stage time was 17 minutes 20.8. Now this is Ben Hunt, and you can see a speed difference here, Glenn.
not only can you see it, but if you listen, the car just doesn't quite have the grunt. It won't come up on revs quite so much coming out of these slow corners. So Ben's doing a very, very good job in what is, a standard Group N type car.
Hunt's time 17 minutes 41, so West needs to be at least that fast to take back second place. But it looks like it started to rain there, Glenn.
Through the vision we can see bits of clay, so that's dry, but as it gets wet, it's going to turn very slippery for Westy.
And of course this is a new bit of road that they haven't been across earlier today, and you can see the rain on the camera there. That's really bad luck for Westy.
And short 5 right minus tightens into...
Well, let's see what the time is. Yeah, that is a lot slower. 17 minutes 56.6. Before the leaders head to the power stage, let's check out the class winners at GoPro Daybreaker Rally. Marcus van Klink securing his lead by over 30 seconds on stage 8. The Mazda's Power overcoming the nimble Escort of Buist. But a finish here for both drivers puts them back in points contention with 3 rounds to go. And it's the bonus point they want on the power stage. Van Klink first through, and his time 6 minutes 01.9. Well, it's a sprint stage, so Buist in with a chance here. 6 minutes 02.4. He misses by half a second. Another strong finish for Graham Featherston, taking out Class 5 and Rookie. But Richard Baddock picks up second place Rookie despite being outside the top 10. And a great day for Scott Simpson, getting his first finish of the season, coming in third. Third in the Fiesta class for David Holder, and a good boost to his confidence after the crash at Whangarei. He was under 25 seconds from the R2 Fiestas, so a really good effort.
4 right plus. Blip. 5 right minus, tightens to 4 minus.
Sometimes from the outside you don't get a feel for how committed these guys are, but just look at the in-car.
30, 4 left.
That's using all the road.
And in the end, nothing Josh Marsden could do to make up the time lost with the puncture on stage 4. Phil Campbell just inching away, extending the gap to 18 seconds and taking the power stage bonus point. With bonus points up for grabs, both Alex Kelsey and Emma Gilmore had rejoined the rally. But Gilmore's Suzuki suffered another electrical failure and she was retired. So it looked like Richard Mason would pick up the win and the power stage bonus points he needed to close in on Hayden Patton's points lead.
Yeah, it's been the perfect rally for Richard. He's dominated from the very beginning, set some blistering stage times, and he looks like he's only... that doesn't look so good. He should be closing in on winning the rally and taking the lead in the NZRC, but there's not much drive going on here. How frustrating for Richard. This is devastating. It looks like it won't get a gear.
Well, this will be motivation for Ben Hunt. He'll know that Richard is at least a minute behind him, even if Mason gets going again.
Yeah, what a feeling for Ben Hunt. I mean, he's now taking the lead. He knows he's going to win this rally. First time outright victory in an NZRC event. It's a pretty special moment.
Well, this is the finish, and the time's 5 minutes 41.5. That's the power stage time that everyone has to beat.
Yeah, hopefully we've put in a good enough time through there to hold Westy off, but we'll see what happens when he comes through. We made quite a few mistakes in there on some of the slower corners, but we're probably pushing a bit too hard, and yeah.
So this is Chris West, and he'll be thinking that 15 seconds is too much time to make up.
Yeah, but he's just had a good reminder that a rally's not over until the last special stage is done.
All right, and here they come. It's coming down to the line. Just around here. 5 minutes 39, beats Ben on the power stage, but will be second on the rally.
I mean, it was too hard for us in the 22Ks, and probably didn't have it quite right, obviously, time-wise. So, perhaps lost enough to make a difference for first and second. But I mean, overall, it's fantastic. And I mean, Richard, 7Ks. I feel sorry for him, but hey, we've been on the other side of the fence as well, so this is a good day for Andrew Sims.
Well, still in with a chance for power stage points. Alex Kelsey back in the rally, but his time in the end, 5 minutes 51.2.
Yeah, but Alex only had so little time this morning to get into the rally. It's hard to come back in such a short stage and do a time.
And despite this smoke screen, it was beaten by Matt Sommerfeld. His time of 5 minutes 48.3, his best championship rally finish.
So Matt, third in the power stage and third overall, how does it feel?
Yeah, it's stoked day. First time on the podium, I just can't believe it. It's like, really thought that we were sitting in fourth until we saw Rich in the last stage. It's just crazy.
So Ben Hunt takes his first rally win, a fantastic result after a great battle with Chris West. Top results from Sommerfeld and Strong, Van Klink confirmed as top historic, and Campbell top New Zealand two-wheel drive in 10th.
At the start of the year when we bought him this car, I never thought that would be even on the podiums in some of the rallies, but to come away with a win, and yeah, it's amazing credit to the team and to just everyone that's played a part in getting me into the car. It's pretty hard to drive when you see the person that's leading the rally sitting on the side of the road, and to try to get your concentration up and actually finish consistently. It was quite a struggle, but we got there in the end, and there was a few wide corners, but that's all part of racing.
Full credit to Ben and the boys as well. Like, hell of a rally. It was only 116 k's, but it it felt like 316.
So Padden still leads with 88 points, but Hunt now in second from Mason. And for full championship points and results, go to www.chrissport.co.nz. So smiles for the winners and commiserations to the non-finishers. But there are still 3 rounds to go in the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. Next up, it's Rally Canterbury on August 11.